Hey everybody, Jerry Corbett of the ministry called The Offering, and it's sponsored by J. Corbett Ministries, and I thank you so much for being here with us today. Hey, it's Wednesday, and look, it is, my brothers and sisters, the wonderful day after Valentine's Day. I pray that you had a safe Valentine's holiday and that you express your love to your loved ones, to whomever, and we thank you so much for joining us. Let me just take the time to say thank you for those who support us. You are of a tremendous help and blessing to this ministry, and that is just what it is, and I thank you so much. Some of you give financially, some of you watchers, you viewers, some of you pray for us, some of you do all and more, and we thank you so much for being such a part, an intricate part of the J. Corbett, The Offering Ministries family, and we thank you. We thank God for you. You're a blessing to us, and we want to return that favor and be a blessing to you as well. Hey, man. Last week we put up some content that had already been up due to the fact that I was ill, and but we still want to make sure that we reached out and stayed in contact with our audience. But I'm back. Hey, I'm better, and thanks be to God. God is still Jehovah Rapha, the Lord thy God that healeth thee, and we give him praise today. All right, so thank God for that. Hey, listen, you're here, and we want you to make sure that if you're here, you've already subscribed. If you've not subscribed, we want you to. And you can hit the subscribe button. You can go over and hit the notification bell. You get the notifications of when we're on the air. And then not only that, but at the bottom of the screen, please like us with the thumbs up. And we would appreciate it because that helps us. And thank you so much to all of you. You're a blessing to us, and we thank God for you. Hey, man. I'm at the beginning of the year, and here we are halfway through. We are one day more than halfway through the day of the month of February, rather. Listen, this year is getting by. Hey, in a couple of weeks, we'll be celebrating the change of times, where we go back to daylight savings time, and then a week and a half or so after that, we'll be celebrating the beginning of spring. So the year is getting by us, but we need to make sure that we do everything we can, take every step to improve who and what we are, and that we make 2023 the year that we are really going to make a difference in our own lives and the lives of others around us. My friend, if not now, when? If not you, who? You know, so those are the questions that I want to put before us. If we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? And if we don't be the ones who do it, who is going to do it? So we need for you to think about that. So what we want to talk about is what we were talking about before I got ill, and talking about making decisions. And today what I want to do is give you some tips of how to make good life decisions, how to make good decisions in life. How do I become a better decision maker? Because you know you make decisions every day. So we want to make sure that you become a great decision maker. And we ask God's presence upon what we'll do today. We ask God to be in the midst, and we ask God to speak to our hearts in the name of Jesus. And we give God praise and glory for that. Now, listen at this. We're going to talk about tips for you to make good decisions in life. Hey, we're going to have to split this into two parts again. This is part one. We'll give you part two on next week. So what we want to do is make sure that you understand that this is for you. This is for your life. This is for your good. This is for your future. This is for your now. This is for you to evolve and become what God has called you to be. Amen. All of you have callings on your lives, and we want you to fulfill them by being a better decision maker. A better decision maker. Listen at this. Life is full of choices. Some are easy. Like, hey, what are we having for dinner today? Or what am I going to wear today? Those are easy decisions. Others are more serious. For instance, what am I going to do for a career? Who am I going to date, or who am I going to marry? or where am I going to live? Those are more complex decisions. Regardless of the importance of a decision that you need to make, good decision skills in life are going to always be useful. Yeah. So especially if you are indecisive about something that's kind of making you feel depressed or getting you down, we want you to become a better decision maker this year. So we want to give you some good tips of how you can make good decisions and figure out a plan, and you can move forward in life. Yeah. See, this is helpful if you're working through a problem. This content is helpful if you're facing a time of uncertainty. This content is helpful if you're struggling with a decision that is tantamount to your success in life. Yeah. So sometimes when we have to make these decisions, we feel bad, and those common feelings are things like we feel overwhelmed, or we feel stressed and anxious, or we feel wound up, or we just our minds won't stop. We feel pressured, or we feel confused, or we feel distracted, or we feel tired of all the things that are going through our minds, because we have to make these key and critical decisions about our lives. And if you've ever wrestled with the decision, you know that is a very intense, very tense time to exist. So what we want to do is give you tips of how to be good decision makers in life, because indecision, listen like this, can have a negative impact on how you feel, and it can zap your strength. It can keep you from making positive and tough decisions. So we want to counter indecision and help you be more decisive about the decisions you need to make. Some of you want to move. Some of you want to go back to school. Some of you want to write a book. Some of you want to start a podcast or a YouTube channel. Some of you want to get married or date, or some of you want to relocate. Some of you want to go back to school or whatever else. Today, this content is designed to help you get through the cloudiness of that and help you come to being a better decision maker. All right? So, and it'll help you put careful thought, critical thought into being a great decision maker. So here we are. We have 9 that we want to present, but we will give you 5 today and 4 next week. 5 today and 4 next week. Okay, so here we go. How do I make good decisions in life? How do I become a better decision maker in my life? Well, the first thing is this, that you don't let stress get the best of you. Don't let whatever decision you need to make stress you out. It's easy to feel stressed out. It's easy to feel anxious. It's easy to say, hey man, I'm facing a tough decision and I don't know what to do. And you might tend, with all that going on, to rush to the decision without thinking it through. And I've done that before, and I've made terrible decisions because of all the stress that came, and it got me off my game. All right? Made some bad decisions, man. I did. And I don't want you to make that because of stress. But if you're feeling anxious about a decision, try to manage that stress. Don't let it cloud your thinking. And before you make the decision, calm down. Woosah. A minute. All right? Go for a walk. Work out. Hang out with some friends, go out to dinner, get with your family, have a good time, just de-stress. And when you come back, you'll be a better decision maker, all right? Don't make decisions with stress getting the best of you. When you're too anxious, you're gonna rush, you're gonna make a poor decision. That's one. If you're going to be a better decision maker, a good decision maker in life, you cannot let stress get the best of you. 2, here it is. You've got to give yourself some time. If it's possible now, if you're not pushed in the corner for time, you need to give yourself time if that's possible. See, it's hard to think clearly under pressure. It is. And so we've got to give ourselves some time to make a better decision. See, so you give yourself time, yourself chance to sit down, to sit in that moment, to sit with that problem that you're going through, to be able to isolate it and put it aside and let that be what is the focus. And then once you do that, you can start weighing options. All right, if you give yourself time, but you will not weigh options and you'll make a poor decision if you don't put some time on it. With these decisions, particularly major decisions like dating, like relocation, like careers, like marriage, like schooling, whatever it is, like starting a business, like starting a new venture, man, you've got to put some time on it now. You've got to give yourself time. Don't rush to or through those particular important decisions. All right, that's 2. So 2, what do you got to do? Don't let stress get the best of you. And 2, give yourself time. Here's 3. 3, you've got to weigh the pros and the cons. So listen at this. When you're faced with a decision, sometimes we lose sight of the big picture because there's so many little intricate parts and moving parts that need to go into that decision. So what you need to do is write a list of pros and cons and map out the course of each decision, and then compare the 2. Actually, I read earlier that Ben Franklin was credited with this method of thinking, that here it is, pros and cons. You get a sheet of paper, you draw a vertical line in the middle, put pros over here, cons over there, and then you begin to list and you begin to see the difference between if I make this decision, what is it going to impact? If I do this, this is good. What's the bad of it? All right. So weigh those out. And what you need to do is this. You need to imagine yourself being there in that moment. All right. Having made that decision. But then, in having made that decision, I'm talking about imagining it now. See what the good or the bad about that decision really is. All right? Pros and cons, and weigh it out. Weigh the good against the bad. Weigh the up against the down. Weigh the right against the wrong. All right? And what I want you to do is always do this before you make a critical decision. All right? Now, here's what else I want you to do. I want you to, in that, strategically think about the end product. I want you to put together a strategy in the pros and cons to say, I'm going to eliminate as many problems going forward as I can, and I'm going to garner as many resources already before I move, you see, so that there'll be few bumps in the road going forward. All right? Weigh the pros and the cons. That's 3 pieces of advice so far. If you're going to be a good decision maker in life, 1, you can't let the stress get the best of you. 2, you got to give yourself time if it's at all possible. And 3, you've got to weigh the pros against the cons. 4, you've got to consider, listen at this, what your goals and values are. You never want to make a decision against your value system. You never, listen to me, you never make a decision that is against your value system. If you're a Christian and you adhere to Christian values, never make a decision against those Christian values. All right? The set of values that you adhere to is important, and you never go against your heart. It's important to be true to yourself. And it's important to value what you value in life and never be pulled to the side to make a decision, no matter what factors are out there. No matter how good this looks, no matter how obvious it seems, don't ever make a decision against your value system, against your goals, because you'll regret it and you'll end up with an outcome that you are absolutely not happy with. All right? So never make a decision outside of your goals and your values. All right? If you have a biblical based set of values, don't go against it. All right? If you have a particular set of values, no matter what that is, you stick to it. All right? That's 4. Never go against your goals and values. If your goal is to be a teacher, be a teacher. You see, if your goal is to be a doctor, be a doctor. If your goal is to live in New York, live in New York. Don't live in Virginia. You see what I'm saying? So if your goal is there, consider the goal, weigh it against your values, and move. All right? All right. See, I want to be a shrewd entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to go against my values and sell stuff that, or produce stuff that's going to harm the individuals that I sell it to. Or, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to do that, because that's against my value system, that I lift up all humanity. All right? Or I don't want to get involved in something that's going to make somebody feel less than what they are, or take away a life, or do something that is going to make a subset of people feel less valuable. That's against my biblical values. All right? And I don't want to do that. I want to lift up humanity, all humanity, in everything I do. And that's a goal, and it's a value at the same time. So never go against your goals and your values as you make decisions. Here's the last one for today, number 5. And then we'll come back with 4 more next week. We need to consider all the possibilities out there. See, making a decision can result in several different outcomes. And not all of those outcomes may be obvious. They might not be plain to your eye. But when considering each option, listen at this, don't just list the positives and the negatives, but write down any likely consequence. All right, what I mean by that? Okay, I mean this, that I've got to consider that, this is a good idea, and it's positive, but who's it going to impact? Who's going to be on the receiving end of this decision? Is anybody going to get hurt? All right? Is anybody going to be lifted up? If anybody's going to be lifted up and edified, that's a good decision. If anybody's going to be hurt or let down, no, that might not be a good decision. You see what I'm saying? I got to consider my family of origin and how that subset made decisions, and what that subset said was a value. And am I going to align my life with that, or am I going to change that? Or is that value moral or immoral? You see? Or is that value good, or is that value outside of what I want to do with my life? Consider all the possibilities. Consider the fact that there's going to be somebody on the receiving end of any decision I make. And I've got to be shrewd enough to know the difference, that I don't make decisions in a vacuum, because I've got to live with the decisions, and the decisions that I make are going to impact others. So I've got to see what impact it'll have on me and everybody and everything involved. All right? I don't want to hurt society. I don't want to seem racist. I don't want to seem sexist. I don't want to seem that I hate a particular group or the other. I want to make sure that I consider every consequence involved. All right? Hey, man, if you do these 5 things and the 4 that I'm going to teach you next week, you'll be a better decision maker. But what have we discovered so far that we can be a good decision maker? 5 things is this. 1, don't let stress get the best of you. 2, give yourself some time if it's possible. Please don't make decisions in a hurry, not important ones. 3, weigh the pros and the cons. And then 4, always think about your goals and values, and then consider the possibilities. How is this going to lift up somebody? How is that going to bring somebody down? How is it going to impact my community? How is it going to lift it up, bring it down? You see, look at all the possibilities out there that decision will impact. All right? Hey, I'm Jerry Corbett. That's 5 of the 9 that we're going to bring you. And I want you to know that we'll bring you 4 more next week. And thank you for joining us. Pray for the ministry. Lift us up as we do the same thing for you. I love you, and I pray that you'll continue to be warm and well, love, live, rid the world of sexism, racism, and classism, and make it a better place to live as you become a better decision maker. God bless you. Love you. Peace.